Opening in Rome with a solemn celebration in St. Peter's. An exhibition and a cultural centre a few paces from the Vatican. A glance at Christians in the Middle East. Benedict XVI, a pilgrim in the Holy Land. A video documentary produced by the Franciscan Media Centre in collaboration with Vatican Television Centre was screened these days in Rome, and a copy was given to all who are participating in the Synod. The Synod and Christian Expectations from the Holy Land. Voices from Jerusalem. Anna Benkovsky, Hebrew translator for Vatican Radio. What she expects as a Jew from the historical event in Rome. During a solemn litany, the Laudes Regiae, invoking the intercession of Eastern and Western saints, the 177 Synod Fathers processed into St. Peter's Basilica. It was there that Benedict XVI presided over a special celebration of the Solemn Eucharist on Sunday, October the 10th, thereby officially opening the Special Assembly of the Synod of Middle Eastern Bishops. Thus began 2 weeks of intense work in terms of encounter, learning and reflection on this small sector of the Church. Approximately 3 million Catholics, 14 million Christians, who live in the Middle East, a region which, as is known, experiences complex and disquieting political situations. It is the first time that bishops of the Middle Eastern region meet together in synodal assembly. They came together in Rome from a vast area ranging from Egypt to Turkey, from Iran to Israel and the Palestinian territories, including the Persian Gulf, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan and Cyprus. They are there to represent the precious and beloved part of God's people, as the Pope defined it at the beginning of his homily, in which he underlined that the reason for the Synod would be mainly a pastoral one. The ecclesiastical aim of the Assembly is to revive communion within the Catholic Church in the Middle East, first and foremost within each church, and so also encompassing relationships with other churches. Communion and witness is in fact the theme of the Synod. Without communion, there can be no witness. The life of communion is truly the great witness. And this can take place even though the Christians of the region constitute a minority. In Jerusalem, the first Christians were few, explained Benedict XVI. Nobody could have imagined what was going to take place. And the Church continues to live on in that same strength which enabled it to begin and to grow. The Synod of Bishops is a privileged moment in which the grace of Pentecost may be renewed in the Church's journey. We all hope that the faithful feel joy in living in the Holy Land. Despite the difficulties, the Christians in the Holy Land are called to enliven their consciousness of being living stones of the Church of the Middle East at the holy places of our salvation. But to bring this about, the Christians of this region need to live according to fundamental human rights, to live in a dignified manner in one's own country. Therefore, the conditions of peace and justice, which are necessary for the harmonious development of all those living in the region, should be promoted. The celebration underlined the variety of ecclesiastical rites and traditions. The Gospel is proclaimed in Latin and Greek, while choirs sing in Latin and Arabic. Among the languages in which the prayers of the faithful are read are Turkish and Hebrew. Arabic is among the official languages of the Synod, being a lingua franca among the members of the 6 Oriental Catholic churches participating in the Synod: the Coptic, Syrian, Greek Melkite, Maronite, Chaldean, and Armenian churches. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us. The Gisadion, sung in Syriac, Greek, Arabic and Latin, concludes the papal choir in the Vatican Basilica, which marked the opening of this special assembly of the Synod of Middle Eastern Bishops. Simplicity and solemnity of a church that seeks communion and unity, and for this reason, until October the 24th, it will reflect on its present and its future, confident in the guidance and grace of the Holy Spirit. Abana, our Father, a glance on Christians in the Middle East. Israel, Palestine, from Iraq to the Emirates. A voyage to the land of the origins, reflected in the photography of Fabio Proverbio. The opening of the Middle Eastern Synod in Rome is also an occasion for dialogue and cultural encounter. United in the awareness of the difficulties which a theme such as Christians in the Middle East involves, bishops and priests of the Middle Eastern patriarchates and dioceses, as well as from the Roman Curia, were invited at the end of the first day to witness the inauguration of a cultural exhibition promoted by Edizioni Terrasanta for the custody of the Holy Land in the hall of the Pius X Foundation. 2 weeks of debates and discussions to remember, as the Custos of the Holy Land, Father Pier Battista Pizzaballa, underlined, that in the Middle East there are not only conflicts, sufferings, wounds, divisions, problems, but also vitality, richness, roots, a sense of belonging and identity. Present at the event were also the General Secretary of the Synod, Monsignor Nicola Eterovic, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, His Beatitude Monsignor Fuad Toile, and the Director of the Vatican Press Room, Father Federico Lombardi, and also many visitors and journalists. This cultural exhibition, this place in the heart of Rome, only a few paces from the Vatican, aims to be a place at the service of the Church in the Holy Land, to be as close as possible to the heart of the Holy Land. It will be an itinerant exhibition, the first leg here in Rome and then in Pavia. Institutions, ecclesiastical and cultural organizations may request to host the exhibition on their own sites. Interest and participation are evident. For the custodian of the Holy Land, Father Pizzaballa, such initiatives, taking place in parallel with the Synod, present an opportunity to make known the reality of the Holy Land in its aspects of suffering, but also of strength. I hope that this Synod can be an occasion for getting to know not only the problems, but also the beauty and the richness of the churches in the Holy Land. Finally, thanks were extended to the Holy Father for the Eucharist, presided in communion with the bishop members of the Synod, and the Secretary General of the Synod, His Excellency Monsignor Nicola Eterovic. For the first time in history, all the bishops of the Middle East find themselves together in Rome to surround the successor of the Apostle Peter, to talk of challenges, which are many, but also of hope, which remains lively, because He is alive, our Lord, who promised us, "Do not be afraid, little flock. I am with you until the end of the world." I welcome the proposal to convoke a synodal assembly to consider together the present and the future of the faithful and the people of the Middle East. Also because, in my visit to the Holy Land, I was able to get to know firsthand of the joys and the difficulties of this Christian community. The Pope himself, in opening the Synod on Sunday, October the 10th, explained again that the gathering had its origin in his pilgrimage to the Holy Land. A visit described in a video documentary, the pilgrimage of Benedict XVI in the Holy Land, presented here in Rome, with copies offered to all participants in the Synod. The DVD, produced at the Franciscan Media Center in Jerusalem, in collaboration with the Vatican Television Center, is available in its first edition in Italian, English and Arabic. The Diary of the Historical Pilgrimage of Benedict XVI in the Holy Land, a record compiled from exclusive footage, enabling viewers to live again with the Pope 8 intense days in Jordan, Israel and the Palestinian territories. Words, action, encounters and prayer. Visits to the key places of salvation history, beginning at Mount Nebo, continuing in the holy city of Jerusalem and the sanctuaries of Bethlehem and Nazareth. Moments of celebration and encouragement for the local Christian communities, friendly ecumenical encounters with diverse churches in the Holy Land, meetings and dialogue with Jews and Muslims, clear and courageous words from the Pope to Christians, to religious and political leaders, helping to grasp the reality of a land in search of peace, a documentary which helps us to remember, to understand and to pray. Yes, I know about the Synod. The Pope has called for the bishops to study questions posed by Christians who live in the Holy Land. We hope that they will succeed in bettering the situation of Christians in this territory. I hope that Christians in the Holy Land believe in this. I know that the priests and patriarchs are meeting in Rome to deal with these things. The Synod deals with matters which concern our daily lives, such as cooperation between differing religions, the occupation, and social life. We hope it succeeds in solving these problems. I have heard only in general of the Synod, in particular through the internet. I hope that this Synod produces positive fruit for Christians in the Holy Land and throughout the Middle East. We hope that we will receive some moral support. We do not ask for material help. How will the final document of the Synod be put into practice so that problems will be solved? Young people here are asking what future they have in this country. We wait for what will result from the Synod and its consequences. We hope that the compilation of the final document will not take too long, because it sometimes can take months or even years of work. We also hope that once the Synod is over and the document is drawn up, we will have concrete material to help us resolve difficult situations in which we are living.
I think it's very meaningful that the Catholic Church decided to have a website reporting about the Synod of the Bishops to the Middle East. In Hebrew, it means that they want the Israelis to know what's happening in the Synod. I feel I'm privileged to be the mediator between the Catholic Church and their discussions and the Israeli community.
Hannah Benkovsky is also in Rome these days for the Synod. Her task is to translate from English to Hebrew all the information about the important sessions for Vatican Radio. Hannah is the director of the Center of Relations between Christians and Jews in Jerusalem, and it was in the Holy City that we met her a few days before her departure for Rome.
There are many challenges. The relations between Christian and Jews are very complicated. First of all, because of the Israeli-Palestinian conflicts. The Christians are part of the Palestinian community, and the conflict, the going on conflict doesn't really help to improve the relation. But there are also other problems based on the history and the difficulties of the relation between the Christian and the Jews in the history, and also some theological problems, theological difficulties. I think in my generation, we're in the time, there are a lot of prejudice, a lot of stereotypes. People don't know enough about the other, and it doesn't matter if the other is a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew. People believe they know, but practically they don't really understand the other. As a Jew, I think the Synod can help by understanding the reality here in the Middle East, in the Holy Land, which is not an easy reality maybe for Christians, that the majority of the people who live here are Jewish. This is a rare situation here. It's a new situation that the Jews are the majority and the Christians are the minority. Implication of the changes in the Catholic Church. I want to create more awareness to the changes. I want to inform the Israelis that the Church is doing major steps toward the Jews, seeing the Judaism as an elder sister, as a state of the or there's a place for the Jews. The Jews have to recognize that and appreciate the changes in the Catholic Church, and unfortunately they're still not aware of that, and they still have a long way to go in order to accept and understand the big step that the Church is doing.